What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Hidden Power. This is a Pokemon podcast. Today we've got a ton of viewer questions and comments. We're going to be talking about a wide range of Pokemon topics from Scarlet and Violet DLC, Generation 10, and even some personal questions. My name is Dusty Gogoat. Today I'm with the Lumiose Post.
Hey guys.
And Soul Silver Art.
What's up?
Guys, let's start with the most basic question. What is your favorite Pokemon?
I'm not a furry, but Lucario.
Oh man.
All right.
Okay, well, that's the episode. That's the episode, folks. That's it.
Yeah, that's just who got me into the franchise. I was a wee little lad. I don't even remember how old I was, but it was like Diamond and Pearl were just about to come out. Maybe even they were already out. I don't know. But Burger King was doing like little promos, and I got a Manaphy case, like a card case that was a Manaphy, and inside was a promo for Lucario, and it's a Diamond and Pearl on the side of it. And I thought he is really cool looking, and I found out that there was a movie about him, so I watched that movie, and I was in love with it. I think Lucario is such a cool Pokemon. It got a Mega Evolution. The Mega Evolution's phenomenal. Ash used it, and it kicked Cynthia's Garchomp's butt. So, I mean, it's just so cool of a Pokemon.
Is this the card?
That's the one. That's the one.
Nice, dude. It looks like a Terra. It looks like a terrestrial electric type. That's cool.
Yeah. It was, man. That dude. I'm not gonna lie. You pulling that up, I almost brought tears to my eyes. Just the nostalgia. Yep.
Oh, jeez. Lucario really is a great Pokemon. Like, I think it is good. I think it really.
It's one of those objectively cool ones.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Soul?
My story is kind of similar in a lot of ways. I have two favorite Pokemon because I still can't decide right now, but the nostalgia Pokemon that is my favorite is Lugia. Because of the movie 2000s. So there you go. It kind of connects to you. Like that whole, I was just so hyped back in like Gen 1 times. We had all the 151 and then the new Pokemon were coming out, and I just wanted to see, like, nothing's changed basically from now to then. Like, I just wanted to see the new ones that were coming, like Donphan they showed in the movie, and then Lugia ended up coming out, and it was just like huge, and I love it. I still love it so much. It's just a great Pokemon.
It's such a cool Pokemon. It really is.
Yeah, and then my other one is Ultra Necrozma. I adore it, just how the design of it, and that's it. Like,
wow, it must be painful. One of your favorite Pokemon being locked behind a gimmick that we may never see again.
That's kind of why I have two, to be honest, because Lugia is amazing. Do not get me wrong. Like, I love the design and everything, but the Ultra Necrozma gave it a run for its money. I feel like they're kind of similar design. They're like dragon-looking kind of things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like normal Necrozma too a lot, but it doesn't compare to Lugia. So
if Ultra Necrozma was not locked behind a Z move, would it beat Lugia for you?
It's almost beating Lugia just in general because I love it that much. Like so that.
They're so different though. They really are. I kind of want to play through Sun and Moon again in order to battle this thing. It's a light dragon. That is kind of epic.
It's so epic.
Cool.
It is really good.
I don't think I appreciate it enough for what it is. Like, that is really cool. And do you guys remember, regular Necrozma, like, the whole thing was, I remember it wasn't even leaks, but, like, the theories were that, like, you could pull apart Ultra Necrozma's pieces and reform it into a dragon, and we literally got a dragon. It didn't become the dragon that it kind of looked like, but here it is.
There you go.
Look at that. That is so cool to me. Because it's like the head, like, you flip the head over, and it's got, that's so cool to me. I think that's so
okay. I see it.
But it is the same though. Like, so that is Ultra Necrozma's face. It's just so much bigger than regular Necrozma that that's the head. It flips up and it just all fills with light. And that Necrozma's head is actually its body.
So I think for me, I would say any Pokemon in the Gen 2 pixel art could easily be one of my favorites. I'm trying to find the art I was just looking at of Lugia. Here it is. Like, I think literally any Pokemon in this art style just pull something out of me. I think so. If I had to pick something, it'd be Scizor would be my favorite Pokemon. But there's been a lot of other Pokemon that I've kind of like grown to love.
Not Gogoat?
No, not Gogoat. Gogoat is cool. Gogoat is cool. But Gogoat was more of like an aesthetic that I was trying to go for. This like It's kind of like yeah, Go-Go's kind of like it's like a not a it's like a noble steed, right? It kind of has like this dragon energy to it. It reminds me of my dog a little bit. It's dirty. It's a mountain climber. It's a hermit. It's like a vibe. I think Go-Goat is cool.
Sounds like Go-Goat might be your favorite Pokemon.
No way. No, watch, because watch this. Look at because look at this. Oh,
I cannot disagree.
Here, Gen 2 Scizor. Check this out.
Epic.
I thought your favorite was Scizor or Sableye. I don't know why I thought Sableye was your favorite.
Yeah, so I was going to say Scizor is my favorite, but there's a lot of other Pokemon like Sableye, like Rotom. There's a lot of Hatterene. There's a lot of Pokemon that have popped up as some of my like contenders for favorites because they've been good competitively. Like Conkeldurr. I love Conkeldurr so much because of this like Drain Punch set that I have with it. It's I use it in so many battles. It's shiny. It's so great. So like a lot of Pokemon, if I battle with them a lot, I start to get like really attached to them. But purely aesthetic, Scizor takes the cake. Look at this art. It's so amazing. Yeah, that's definitely I would say my favorite Pokemon. How did you guys get how did you guys get your usernames? Because I got my username for how I told you. I thought it was a cool Pokemon. But yeah, I'd love to hear about you guys.
So I'll let you take this one.
That was another question that we got.
Yeah. Mine actually comes from Lugia as well. I love Silver version. Like I never really was like in love with Soul Silver. I mostly played Silver version, and Soul
Silver's a better version.
Yeah,
of Silver.
Exactly. So it's just like easy, and I was just looking for something that was like related to Lugia. And the big thing.
Did you wait? Did you say you never played? Which one did you not play?
No, I played both. I just didn't. I was just saying like I loved Silver like a whole lot more. Like Soul Silver was just like replaying it, not even really thinking about it.
Look at this.
One of the main reasons is because I've named my player character Silver ever since after Yellow version. So when Silver version came out, I was Silver, even though my rival was Silver. so I just
That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, it was just Silver forever. I actually, for the first time in Gen 9, changed it to Soul because of all this fun stuff that we've been doing.
That's so cool. So that reminds me, like I guess I'll ask you after. There's a bunch of names that I always pick for protagonists when I replay games.
Yeah, it's fun. It is. It's interesting.
It's funny. I always just do Zach.
Zach from the Lumios Post.
That's what you should type if you had enough. If you had enough characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the main reason. I love Silver the Rival. Like, if there was a character that I could be in that universe, that's what it would be.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's where the name comes from, just Lugia and Silver being my favorite Pokemon game, basically due to nostalgia and just that whole Gen 2 vibe. So
the names I always pick for my characters are Green. I think it's because of Gary, right? I also think it's just like it's a nice clean name. It reminds me of plants, nature, forest, kind of same vibe as Go-Goat, but it's and it's like that Gen 1 name, right? Everyone knew Red and Blue, but it's like, Green was the game in Japan, but
Green was the girl.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that was like, I don't know if it was retconned or wasn't that
it was in the manga. It was in the manga.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was blue. It was in green, like in Japan. The games that first came out, and then their names were that too. I'm pretty sure.
Right. Okay. But then the English made them red and blue. So when the manga came out, it's red is the main character, blue is Gary, and then green is the girl.
So it was never based off of the girl. Yeah, that's true. There is the yellow. Yeah, like she's like a bug catcher. But I don't know. So that was one of the names. I think when I was a kid, I used to name. I don't even know why, but I used to name my character in all caps, Dude. This is like maybe when I was like 10. And
that is the most 10-year-old name.
Literally,
to give a
Dude.
I love that.
Dude, it was like it was DUDE, and I remember like waking up one day, starting my file, not starting it, but like entering back into my file, and I was like, why do I name every character Dude? It was just like it was like a compulsory thing that I never had to think about. And
you just had a moment.
That.
Yeah, I very Golden Go energy. I think I need to find some of my Pokemon that I've transferred up that have the OT Dude. There might not be too many
no,
left, but I gotta
no.
find that. I
That'd
gotta
be
find
amazing.
You gotta do more than that. You're no longer Dusty Go-Goat. Your channel name is now Dude in all caps.
Yeah, dude.
Dude. Welcome back to the Hidden Power Podcast. I'm Dude.
Dude.
I'm here with
Dude.
Lumios.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah. So, anyways, I wanted to just I don't know. I like that you had like a specific name for your in-game characters. Actually, this, just to go off this topic even more, this is the first Scarlet and Violet is the first game where I made my OT Dusty. I've like embraced that now.
It used
I was
to be
going
Liam.
to ask.
Yeah, I've always made it Liam, or Dude, or Green, or Lime. That's my Instagram, Lime side.
He tried to make it Liam this gen, but he got a phone call from Ace Trainer Liam, and he was like, "Yeah, that's taken."
Yeah.
You know all about that one, Zach.
Right? Yeah. Oh yeah. No, yeah. And,
You were getting
for
crushed
me,
in the SEO.
right.
Yeah.
For me, so I have a background before I did YouTube with Pokemon. So before I did PokeTubing, if you will, I had a blog that was journalism. It was travel, and that was always a love of mine, was journalism, blogs, that kind of stuff. And so, that's kind of associated with like Post, right? Like, the New York Post, the Washington Post, that kind of stuff. So I wanted to do that, but then take a Pokemon city. And obviously Lumiose City, not only is it from my favorite region, Kalos, but it also actually has a journalist place there. Alexa works at a little journalist place in Lumiose City. So I did Lumiose Post, and, the first few months of YouTube was a lot of, are you just trying to copy Lumiose Trainer Zach? And I had to assure them that I wasn't.
That's
The
funny,
fact-
dude.
the fact
I
that
think
your
I'm
name
now-
is also Zach. is
Yeah,
just
that's
insane.
That's the bizarre part.
I know, and it's like, it's just a coincidence, I promise. Yeah.
Because like Ace Trainer Liam, that is literally, I am an Ace Trainer. Like, how dare he claim that? That's literally how I feel sometimes.
Well, I
He
mean,
would say
and
the
what
same
people
to you.
don't realize, is here in Lumiose City, just everybody's name is Zach. I mean, it's just,
okay.
it's Clement, Bonnie, Alexa, Zach.
Zach. I think there's
That
also
makes so much sense.
Zachary, yeah.
We spell in different ways. One guy does ZAC. I do ZACH. Someone
Yeah.
does ZACK.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
It's a good place. It's a good place to be from. So
I
that's
love
that's
the
that's a
Kalos
cool
region.
that's a cool
It's-
story.
Whether you like the game or not, it's the prettiest region, and you can fight me on that.
It is really pretty.
We're not gonna go here, I don't think.
Yeah,
Go here,
I
Phil.
think it'd be
Let's
nice
go
to
here.
No, you know what?
It's good. It's good.
New-
It's good.
New theory, we'll never go to Kalos in Gen 9 because the Gen 9 engine is not pretty. So we can't go to a pretty city in a game engine that's not pretty. Okay, you want to move on?
Wow.
You want to move on to another question?
They could redo
Yeah, let's-
some things. But yes, let's move on.
So we got a question from Tyson. He writes, I think this new legendary Pokemon, the third legendary, that's what he's talking about, is going to be fairy and dragon type, and its whole theme is imagination, right? It's a nod from Game Freak to those in the community that create Fakemon. We already see Pokemon ideas from the community. Now Pokemon can make those imagined Pokemon real. He also writes, also, there's no literal future or past that they could come from. They're purely generated from imagination. What do you guys think about this? Because there is
The controversy.
Yeah, it's funny that they say this. I literally have a video posting on this like tomorrow, I think.
Do you?
At the time that we're recording, yeah.
Oh wow.
But my basic idea is that to really, really water it down is that I think that this third legendary is representative of reality. And what reality is it's more than just he can make the imagination come to life, but it's reality is the world we live in. It's everything that makes up our universe, and a huge part of that is time. So I could see it being a thing of this legendary still does create like wormholes and time warps, if you will.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to hear your opinion, Soul, especially from the Fakemon perspective.
Well, this brings up so many things in my mind, but like, I subscribe to this. People want it to just not be just time travel Pokemon. I don't know about you guys, but it just sounds like, you know, like when you hear the whole reality thing, people want it because it's more than just, oh, it's just more time travel.
I think it has to be that.
To me, time travel is so neat. Like I'll be upset if it's not time travel.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
See that.
I don't know. I think time travel was done nicely with Hisui, right? Like
yeah, but that wasn't like the extent, you know. That was more like time travel to meet your grandparents. This is like time travel to the dinosaurs, you know?
Yeah, but we have the dinosaurs as well. We have the fossil Pokemon, right?
Okay, but those aren't their true forms.
Yes, but I think those are still they're still watered down a lot more, right? Like you wouldn't call a true you wouldn't call like a true Cradily a Paradox Pokemon. I wouldn't. It's still, right? Like
yeah,
these Paradox Pokemon are like literal forms of things that we already know.
I guess.
So I feel like that's the thing.
I just think I highly recommend everyone, both here on the podcast and listening to the podcast, check out my video because there is a lot of holes in the whole imagination thing.
Yeah,
there definitely is. It would be cool. Let's just put it that way. We've had traveling stuff before. We haven't had like past and future forms. That was actually a crazy thing that happened, that the community came up with that, and then they ended up doing that, not from the community, I don't think, but they had this ideas basically.
What you're saying is the community imagined it and they made it real.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying with this
like third legendary.
Here, this guy, he knows that it's a cool idea of what he's saying for sure. Like I like it a lot. The other thing that it brings up in my mind is, wouldn't it just be like a perfect world? And I've thought about this a million times. One day, maybe far in the future, not that far, but far a little bit, and Pokemon like actually takes like requests from fans. Like people draw things and send it to them, and they're like, "Oh, you know what? We're gonna base Pokemon off of your Fakemon."
No, that would be so cool. So cool. They've gotten, I don't want to say close to that, but almost in that direction. Because like in Sword and Shield, they did a contest where like someone could design a design and they'd put it on a t-shirt in Sword and Shield, but the person cheated, so they didn't put that on the t-shirt. And then like
they did it with the TCG as well.
Card. Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it would be neat if, I mean, Gen 10 would be the perfect time to do it too. The 10th generation of Pokemon, just be like, design a Pokemon, send it in with its types, its abilities, its, you know, maybe even its base stat total would be kind of fun.
And it doesn't even need to be. I don't even think it needs. It doesn't need to be even like an official like public thing. It could even just be like I don't know, like I feel like most companies, right? Or there's a lot of great things in innovation that comes out of, like, would you call it like open source or like crowdsourcing, right? Like when things are open, people can just like hop in and give great feedback and ideas. Yeah. I think because there really are. I mean, man, like,
you know, another thing that they did that I think of is they did allow people to name a move. In Japanese, Steel Beam was named by the fans.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. They should really lean into that. And so the other question I kind of have about this is like, would that break immersion, right? Because like a design of a Pokemon that already exists, or a design of a Pokemon for a T-shirt, like that's one thing, right? A Pokemon move, that's one thing. But like to design a whole new Pokemon, all of a sudden doesn't quite feel. It might not feel like a living, breathing Pokemon. It could actually just feel like it almost like breaks the wall, like the fourth wall a little bit.
It does a little, but it's still like the idea is so cool. Like people love Fakemon. Like they look at them and they're like, man,
those
that
ROM
should
hacks
be
are
real.
Super popular.
Yeah, they don't care. I'm like, okay, so one in Gen 10, right? They just do a contest and this one Pokemon makes it in. But then like Gen 15, the whole Pokedex, the whole generation designed by fans.
Yeah.
like how crazy would that be?
Wild.
I wouldn't
I would not
totally
like that,
want that, but I'd just be like, it'd be nuts. It'd be nuts for something like that.
I think what makes me like comfortable is like, So so what makes me comfortable is the fact that there would still be a director, someone kind of filtering all these designs to still create.
Of course.
Like
naturally, that's how it would be no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we have talked about how like, or I guess wondered, right? We've thought about how they actually create these Pokemon, each Pokemon game and each Pokedex, right? They usually come up with a concept and then think of things that they actually need. But usually, I think what we've decided is like that what they probably do is choose from a pool of designs that already exist. So I think they should just have like an open door policy where they're just like, if you have a design, send it in. You can't post it anywhere else. Send it in anonymously, and maybe we'll use it in the next 10 years.
It'd be hard to moderate that, the whole you can't post it anywhere else. But I will say,
well, that is the I think that's probably the issue, because that's the reason why those people didn't win those T-shirt designs or the TCG designs, because they decided to profit or they posted it somewhere else, which was deemed profitable and then removed. That's probably
really that
issue.
hard though. Is it really that hard? You just, if they send it in to you and then you check like all their socials after, if you decide to choose that one, you just check everything that where they post, and that's it. If they posted it, then it's out. That's
I mean, I have a couple.
That is probably what it is for privacy.
I have a couple thoughts on that. First off, it is also probably a thing of, what if like we have a good friend Subarashi who kind of sends us some art like that he's done, and like what if I was a jerk and I took Subarashi's art and I sent in, and I get credited for it.
Yeah.
I would never do that to you, Subarashi. You're amazing. But then another thing too is you say, would it be that hard? And I respond with, for Game Freak, yes. They can't even put out a finished product game.
Okay.
But
it's true.
I do think that a great
they'd have to
way
hire someone to do it.
Yeah,
they could have had someone make a proper Finizen design. Like that would have been great if Finizen actually got like a unique design.
Finizen looks fine.
You'd be Palafin. Palafin.
But I think that a great way to start would be a regional variant, because like the fans have to take something pre-existing and build off of it. So like they say, you design a regional variant that would fit in, and they could say in a German-based region, or they could narrow it down even further and say that would live in a rainforest. Yeah. And so you'll have some people send in an Apom variant that's grass. You'll have some people send in a fruit bat variant of Noibat, things like that, and they pick based off of that. I mean, I think that would be the easiest way to do it, because the source material that people are quote unquote stealing from here is the Pokemon Company source material. They're building it off of Noibat, not other fan art.
See, there's a way they could figure it out, or they could just let the third legendary make it reality.
Yeah. I mean, the legalities are just, I think, too confusing for them to. I think they're afraid to do it because of the legalities and the specifics of it.
I think one other solution that they should probably just like think about is just reaching out to really talented artists. Like, why are they not reaching out to Daydrake, right? Why is he not being asked to design something for the Pokemon Company, right?
Yeah,
I know. Talking about Subarashi, he can design a whole freaking dex in like 15 minutes.
Exactly, right? Like, those are the people that they should be reaching out to.
They don't even need scouts, to be honest. All they have to do is go online and look a little bit.
Google Fakemon.
Yeah, literally. Charizard variant.
There's a rule that their artists are not allowed to look at Fakemon art, because like they don't want to subconsciously influence their design process, if you will.
Could you imagine if they just for once just looked at one of the Dunsparce evolution?
Yes.
All they needed to do was have one person be like, "Oh, it looks like a dragon, kind of."
Right. We need the last shaman's biblically accurate Dunsparce.
Dude.
Yep. They'll never see it.
Can you imagine Mega Dunsparce? And it's like, it's biblically accurate?
I've been like thinking about so many like the Dunsparces I want to draw. It's kind of cool. I've been thinking of past and future ones, and like another evolution.
Please draw them.
I am. I'm definitely going to.
The next question has to do with time travel. But before we get into that, we do want to ask you guys, if you're not already and you're enjoying the show, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to actually reach that 1,000 subscriber milestone. We've already hit our watch hours, and once we get 1,000 subscribers, we can actually start monetizing the channel. And what that means is we can securely continue the podcast into 2023. It's already been a great few months. So yeah, if you have not yet, hit the subscribe button. We really would appreciate it.
Subscribe, and Dusty will change his name to Dude.
No promises. But yes, I will. Yes, I will. But no promises.
Dude, go.
So Deceptions writes, could be based around the theory of if you time travel the speed of light away from the Earth, you could theoretically time travel, which Einstein was the one who theorized this, and the Heath guy looks like Einstein.
That's another thing that kind of is a hole in the whole reality thing. It seems that there is something time travel going on here, because Heath is, according to like the coding, the data mine of the game, he's supposed to show up in DLC, and he should have died a long time ago.
I think both things can be true. I think there can be time travel, but I think there can also
definitely
be...
both can be true.
Yeah, so I do...
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what reality is. It would encompass the real and the not real, and time itself.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily like a made-up imagination. It's literally like the specific thread of time that is being brought into our reality, thus being a paradox.
I mean,
Like, this
there's
should
an
not
argument
exist.
to be made that like the fossils, there's no fossils in this game because they're going to do something with them in DLC. To tie them into that. That would be really, really cool.
Stop doing this to me.
I mean, maybe even Crown Tundra, having them out in the wild was a kind of tease. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's my whole thing. I think that, that's the whole idea of this imagination. It's not just what is real and what isn't real, but also what used to be real and what will one day be real,
True. You have anything else to say, Saul?
I mean, he does look a lot like Einstein. I think I think the connection was just supposed to be that, like, they were supposed to be like, it's kind of like Einstein's theories of time and all of that.
So this Michael writes, I personally still subscribe to the idea that the disc Pokemon 3rd Legendary has some connection to Zygarde. We've only ever seen a core, cell, 10%, 50%, incomplete. But what if its 2 had a shell form, which the disc is reflecting? So this would be the 3rd Legendary, essentially. The theory is that the 3rd Legendary is some sort of form of Zygarde. Let's say they write... Yeah, you know how in the main story of X and Y, the box legend was in a cocoon of sorts to regain strength. What if the disc Pokemon depicted in the book is that same sort of cocoon, but it's Zygarde in slumber? And that would essentially be that.
Would be a great way to tie Kalos into. I will say, there's a lot of, with Terrastal, there's a lot of like connections to the imagery of hexagons. Like, that seems very associated with this legendary, and that's also very associated with Zygarde. The cells are all in the shape of hexagons. If you look at Zygarde itself, it kind of shows the individual hexagons on it, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that does kind of... But
it's
this could be a coincidence. This could be... I mean, I guess
be a convergent
I have two sides
evolution.
of it. Could, yeah. I mean, I have two sides of it. I have one side that's like, I love this and I want this to be true, but then I also have Game Freak has never done anything like that, and I don't know that they ever will. It's too cool for them.
Actually, do you know what's crazy? Oh my goodness. Okay, tell me if I'm crazy. This
You are, but continue.
Ultimate Zygarde also has a crown.
Yeah,
it kind of does.
true.
Look at the crown. What if... that actually is starting to make total sense to me. I was like, cocoon, I don't know if... It's not... The 3rd Legendary isn't something that's like related to Zygarde. It just is Zygarde. Just Zygarde is the 3rd Legend, right? And it's so...
Right.
And Zygarde is so dormant in the original games. Like, you literally just find it as the snake. Am I just reiterating what they wrote? Like, I'm
the crown thing was
kind of on board with
it. The crown thing was a good find. I'd hope if they did that, I'd hope they'd also tie Guzzlord into it somehow, just because that's like been confirmed to be like, its design is confirmed to be like kind of based off of Zygarde's. So
cool.
There's a lot like a corrupted Zygarde.
It's like a
paradox.
paradox.
It would be neat if
Zygarde.
they tied it all together. Yeah, exactly.
What are Zygarde's powers? Yeah, Soul, jump in here. I'm gonna look this up.
Well, I don't know what its powers are, but I I would like maybe for it to be like this, but I like that it would be like its own separate legendary. You know,
Yeah.
I kind of don't really want it to be Zygarde, but I mean there is a possibility. It all lines up, but it also feels like one of those fan theories that we all want to happen but never will happen kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like there's so much evidence for it, but it's really just a coincidence.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
people don't want to believe in coincidences, but the fact is, when you have a franchise that's almost 27 years old, there's going to be a lot of really good coincidences.
Yeah, a lot of people coming up with the same ideas kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, so it looks like so its 50% form says when the Kalos region's ecosystem falls into disarray, it appears and reveals its secret power. Right. Again, that's kind of what the Y dex entry is. It's hypothesized that it's monitoring those who destroy the ecosystem. Right, from deep in the cave where it lives. Right. Its complete form says this is Zygarde's 100% form. It has enough power to overwhelm even Xerneas and Yveltal. That's actually really nondescript. That just like it can just beat two Pokemon. Overwhelming power to suppress those who endanger the ecosystem.
I mean, those two are seriously strong Pokemon, though. Like death
They
and
are,
life.
yeah, yeah, that's true.
So the ultimate weapons.
And
So
I know,
it is strong.
yeah, and I guess there is an ecosystem in every game, right? Every game there is an ecosystem being threatened, but that is a really cool. That's a really cool connection that I have
I
not
do
thought
like
of.
that a lot.
Yeah, I have not thought of that once. That would be cool if it just is a Zygarde form. It's not. That's actually kind of dope. That's dope. And then
Well, I
this
think we
is
talked
and then
about
this
it.
is the Z version.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've talked about it though too. Like if it was a paradox of Zygarde, then it's still not Zygarde, but it's like just based on
Right.
it.
So not a paradox of Zygarde. So like just one more thing. There really isn't like the two box legendaries are just paradox, right? There's no trio. Like this isn't the third legendary existing isn't going to make Koraidon and Miraidon in this new thing a trio. I don't think there will be a trio of
Unless
legends.
we can ride it. If we ride
Yeah.
it, then that would be an interesting connection. Not that they would be connected like
Yeah.
lore wise much, but just that would connect them in a way.
Yeah, and I could actually probably see that. And then what you could do, because in Scarlet and Violet you can actually like remove the ride Pokemon and put it in your party. If you have maybe it's like if that Pokemon, if Koraidon and Miraidon is not in your party, but you have the third legend, that becomes your ride Pokemon. I could see that. So my theory on the paradox in third legendary is this is from Myrain. My theory on the paradox in third legendary is the third legendary is the keeper of infinity energy or can store infinity energy, and the Terra Crystals are the excess amount of overflow. The past Pokemon had more infinity energy, so had stronger stats as they had access to more of it. The same is true for the future Pokemon, so like the Terra Crystals are fueling them almost. And why they aren't Steel type, but they look like Steel type. Their type reflects the infinity energy that they were built with. This reminds me of like the Kyber crystals from Star Wars and how you make lightsabers.
Yeah, no,
Interesting.
I like that theory a lot. I definitely think infinite energy is tied to Area Zero. I definitely think it's down there. I think it's what they harness. I think you need to look no further than look at the ultimate weapon and look at the crystals that grow in Area
Yeah.
Zero. They look identical.
It would be
No.
really wild if they really did what fans have been asking for with the
Yeah, they
whole like
should-
Kalos connection.
They should hire
You know.
artists and they should hire fans. That's literally a crystal right there.
They should. It looks very similar even to Glamora, and we know Glamora is like connected to the Terra Crystals. It's just like
Right.
it all kind of connects, and it's this gen specifically. They tried to give a lot of fan service, and not in a bad way. You know, just like give Dunsparce an evolution, give Girafarig an evolution. You know, things that fans have wanted or been asking for a long time. I feel like there is a possibility that they could do a little Kalos in there, maybe.
Yeah. Just to jump off what you just said, another question by Imago Munkel. They say, thought, Carbink and DNC have been data mined to be in home transfers. Maybe
Oh yeah.
Glamora is similar
Yep.
to Carbink, related to the third legend, but not an evolution. So that's kind of interesting. It's like a leftover.
I do absolutely have to address the fact that they're doing something with Diancie in DLC, even if it's just like a Keldeo role, like what it had in Crown Tundra. They're doing something with it because not only like Carbink isn't even in the Scarlet and Violet decks. It's just a home transfer. It is the only non-starter, non-Hisuiemon / regional variant or legendary to be in a home transfer ever.
Yep. It's insane. It doesn't make any sense other than it has to be something.
Right, and you can say that it's connected to Diancie. You can say it's connected to Diancie. They can't do Diancie without it. They absolutely can do Diancie without it.
No, they do that all the time.
Right. I mean, Tauros is in this game without Miltank. Cross and Scyther are in this game without Pinsir.
Cloth is in the game without Krabby.
I mean, that's different, but yeah.
It is different, yeah. We love Cloth. I'm trying to tease you for liking Cloth.
We
Kramer.
do?
I don't know why. I love Cloth. Y'all can... Oh, my gosh. I'm bullied on this show every week.
My tier list is almost done. Cloth, man, he didn't fare well.
Well, don't
then
cover
it's
that
a crap
up.
tier list. It's a crap tier list.
We have to do the tier list episode.
Yeah.
We absolutely do.
All right, I'm sorry, Lumios. I didn't mean to get you off topic.
I don't even remember. The point is, they're definitely doing something with Diancie and Carbink. It's Carbink being a home transfer, not in Paldea already, is so freaking suspicious.
Yeah, that is weird.
I have addressed it a couple of times, and always the comments are like, well, it's in there because of Diancie. And it's like, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it
doesn't. It doesn't make sense that it's in there because of Diancie. They're two separate Pokemon.
That's not a good enough reason. Like, they were coding Diancie, and then someone just said, well, if we're coding Diancie, then someone make a...
Yeah, you have to put Carbink in there.
Right. Like,
no, they're going to do like a special giveaway of Carbink.
That's such a, that's a fan answer to it. It's like, well, if Survivor's there, then Zangoose has to be there, which is, they did this gen, but in the past, it's not been like that.
We got Arrokuda in this gen, but Cramorant isn't in.
Guys, Charizard is in the game, but Blastoise and Venusaur are not. They don't need to do anything that they don't want to do.
That's exactly right. That's a great point.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I rest my case, Your Honor.
All right. So to get into some more things that defend me, great monster. This was in a conversation. This was in response to a conversation we were having about Unova. You guys were saying that, or someone was saying that Unova is only New York, and I think I was trying to say it's not based on New York. And he brought up something that I've thought about but didn't actually say. So I gotta just put this on the record. Unova is literally UN is United States, and then you have OV is of, and then A is America. So he said Dusty Unova means United States of America, not New York.
Because it was our first American game, but it is just New York.
I know.
It's not just
it's not
New York.
just New York.
It's inspired.
It's New York with Pokemon. What I'm saying is it's not the whole U.S. I mean, it absolutely isn't. I don't see no Carolina Coast in there. I don't see Disney World in there.
That's fair. There's no
Canyon.
No New Hampshire, man. No, I would say there is Grand Canyon. There's a ton of like mountainous areas.
Yeah,
that's not the Grand Canyon.
And you have what is it? Lentimus Town? That's
New
super
York.
Midwestern.
It's New York and the surrounding area.
Yeah, it's literally New York and the surrounding continent.
Like when I think of New York, I mean like the state, not even like the city.
Okay.
That makes more sense, but the city is obviously the city down at the bottom that is name escapes me right now.
This is what it is. They like Game Freak probably went to Paris to get inspiration for Kalos. They didn't probably go to every single location in Paris.
They did go some places in France. We've seen.
Yeah.
But
all right, you guys aren't helping.
And like Kalos is it too. Like Kalos is based off of the northern part of France, and they even specify that there is a South Kalos that we did not see in the Kalos games. That's what Unova is to the United States of America.
Bro.
There's no Wild West.
Yeah, they got to give us some more. They got to give us some more Unova. Or we have Unova in the games, but they got to give us like another region that's like neighboring Unova. That's what they should do for Gen 10. That's what they should do for Gen 10. The sequel to, or the Gen 10 region should not be Japan, should not be China, should not be India. It should literally be Canada, and then or it should be like California, and it connects to Unova. That's the way.
I
that's
know
the way
that
you do
it's
it.
not. I know it's not like the immediate choice, and we should totally do like an episode where we just
Yeah.
each like kind of build a region in our heads and come up and pitch it with each other.
That'd be fun.
But I think that like a Southeast United States region would be a lot of fun. Like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, all of that is so. We've got beautiful coasts. We have beautiful mountains. There's all kinds of wildlife and really interesting wildlife you could do. It'd be really, really good. I've played around because I used to love to build fake regions. Like I did like a fake long before I was on YouTube. I did like a fake India region. I did like a fake I did a fake like Carolinas region, and like there's so much good stuff. We're absolutely doing that. Executive decision. We're doing a podcast episode where we're talking about Fame region. I'm coming.
I'm down
with
I'm down.
a Carolina region.
So for me,
they'll ever do that region, but I would love to see it. Definitely.
Here, hold on. Unova map. So, all right. So you see how, like, on the Unova map, there's these 3 parts. There's 1, 2, 3, right? And the rivers are going through. So what I've always seen that as is this right here, this strip.
Oh my gosh, no.
This and this.
No.
No. I'm kidding. Well, that is something I've thought about.
To New York City,
I know
it's that
I
right
know.
there.
Yeah.
That.
It's literally New Hampshire. How do you not see that? Unova's not New Hampshire. So
is Unova Delaware and Philadelphia? Look down a little bit.
Yeah, like right here.
That looks like it,
doesn't it? Oh my god.
What's even in Delaware though?
No, it's
Any
probably
Delaware
this.
people out
I'm
there?
not.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah. Leave a comment if you're
familiar
from.
with those.
No, it's
areas
this
to
right
say
here.
If they have any
There
of
you
that in
go.
New York.
It's literally this. It's 1,
Yep.
2, 3.
I know some people do say that Burbank. I wouldn't know because I haven't been to California.
Yeah.
But some people say that Burbank City is based off of Burbank, California, which the name checks out, but it seems weird to do a random.
They
Right.
pulled some stuff from different places.
If,
no doubt.
Yeah.
Leave a comment if you're True Green 7 or Lumios Trainer Zach. All right, so another one. This is from Alan. I had a cool idea about the future paradoxes being that if they look the way they look is because of the future. Some Pokemon species disappeared. Pollution, war, natural disaster, Zygarde. But to keep the Pokemon battle industry running for the entertainment of humans, they just recreated those Pokemon as machines with their futuristic knowledge. It would also explain why Iron Valiant looks like a fusion between Gallade and Gardevoir. They write, look at our latest invention. It's not 1, but 2 Pokemon in one body. Make sure to grab yourself before the next tournament. So that'd be like a sales pitch. And I kind of agree with this. Like I feel like if these Pokemon are actually from the future, and there's no imagination or like reality shifting at all, I could definitely see these things being like man-made to be optimized for battle, right?
I would take that and put a darker spin on it. I would say that these are from a future where some kind of disaster happened, which really isn't hard to believe because you have to think we live in a Pokemon world where there is the ultimate weapon fired off, and Cyrus tried to recreate the world, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
but
tough.
I think what happened was Pokemon were wiped out. And these weren't created for battling. These were created because Pokemon are a necessary part of the ecosystem and thus to humanity's survival. So we tried to replicate a Tyranitar with Iron Thorns to balance the ecosystem. I like the idea that
That's
it was
cool.
for ecosystem balance, not battling, because that makes it kind of darker, which is fun.
That's really cool.
I have a crazy thought on this. That it's another one I like. Pokemon. This should be something in real life, basically. But like we could. This is our timeline. That's what it is. In real life, we could literally build a Pokemon. Like, why don't we? Somebody should build one. Like those Mecha Pokemon before this all happened, the Paradox Future ones. I was like, someone should just build one of these, and we'd have a real life Pokemon. Like, like
Are you saying in our our reality?
Yes, us right now today.
That would be cool.
Like, someone should
That'd be
build
so
a
trippy.
freaking little Pikachu robot, and like they
It
don't
would
have to,
actually,
like,
yeah.
they don't have to make
That's
it
actually
like furry
what
and stuff,
the
just
Gen
like a
20
robot.
games are. That's what the Gen 20 games are. They're just like come to your local
Bro.
GameStop, pick up a robot Pikachu, and
Yeah.
throw it at your cousin or something. You know.
I mean, this whole idea came to me a long time ago, but I was even thinking like one day you could like battle them against each other, but you would have to like be super rich because
Yeah.
to like get every battle would be like parts that you would have to buy because
Yeah.
they would get destroyed every time.
Yeah,
So
I don't like
it
that
would
as
be
much.
more like it would be more like a pet in your house kind of thing.
That's
Crazy.
interesting to think. Now I'm thinking about like, the value of a pet, right? You love the pet, you spend money on the pet, it's priceless, and then having to battle the pets. That there's kind of like all of a sudden the ethical dichotomy is presenting itself.
It becomes
right?
very real.
Yeah, that would not be good to try to.
I'm not
battle
going
my
that far.
pet.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
I
Like,
don't know what you're talking
people
about. I do
think-
dog fights all the time.
Oh my god. People think that robots are gonna like be a thing soon, and I mean, they do have some kind of crazy robots.
yeah.
out
That's
there.
true. Yeah.
But like,
All right.
so why not a Pokemon robot?
Yeah, I think it is interesting to think before a robot. I could see it being like, I could see it like a Gen 20 game. This is hilarious. Just like I could see Pokemon in the future becoming like holograms, like an extension of what Pokemon Go is with virtual reality, right? Or what do they call it? Like virtual, whatever. But
AI or not AI.
it's not
AR,
virtual
augmented
reality. AR,
reality.
yeah.
AR,
Augmented
yeah.
reality.
I think that maybe that's the paradox of the Violet paradoxes. Is we have Pokemon Violet, and so that's out now. So we see an Iron Thorns. So we make an Iron Thorns, and then Pokemon Violet brings that Iron Thorns in. So the paradox is that we made it because we saw it in Violet. Violet
I like
brought
that.
it in
I
from
like
our
that.
world.
Like it wasn't really a Pokemon, but now it is.
Right.
It's like Pinocchio, right? It looks like a boy,
Exactly.
and then they bring it to life. That might be it right there. That's pretty cool. So this next question, this is more of just like a lot of really cool insight in a theory. This is from my friend Python's Gone Postal. He literally breeds python snakes. So he actually has like a great background in biology. But he writes, he's writing a book about this right now. So he writes, "Hey Dusty, I've been thinking about the 4 ruinous Pokemon. Few things. They are very obviously Chinese named. Could this be insinuating Gen 10 in China, Asia?" Okay, yes, noted. Secondly, Pokemon has recently incorporated biological and ecological themes into their game. We had speciation, which is regional forms, convergent evolution, which is like Diglett and Wiglet, the regional fakes, and divergent evolution, which is like a split evolution line, like Gardevoir or Gallade, for example, and to name but a few. And when I think of the ruins, this is the Ruinous Quartet, I think not only of the ruins of castles, but the ruins of landscapes as the Pokedex entries of these 4 state. This is unequivocally reference to an invasive species. Oddly enough, Asian carp, hogs, deer, and slugs and snails and domestic house cats are among the most destructive of the invasive animals, hogs too. So is this what the Ruinous 4 are framed around? Not just the perils, but the destruction of an ecosystem. Love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, these 4 Pokemon, they're based on animals, but they're all dark type. And there is a story that they all represent the grudges or certain aspects of this evil king that had existed. But I love the idea that they're also, like the animals that were chosen were also selected because of how invasive they are, right? Or actually, were they also selected because there's some mythology there as well?
There's so much mystery around them, honestly. I've been trying to like start digging into
hope
it.
that there's more to them in DLC, but I do think they're a hint to an Asia region. And I do think they are even a hint to a China region. And you'll have people who say that, you know, that won't happen because of the political not niceness, if you will, between Japan and China. But my thing is, I don't think that matters because, for one, it's not like Game Freak would be saying, you know, we fully support the Chinese communists government, and like it's not like they'd be putting that in their games. They're just basing it off of the country of China, and might even would go for a more older China too. Anyways, like a more like, I don't know the eras what they would be called, but like pre-communism China. Then another thing too is they partnered with one of their biggest games. They partnered with a Chinese company to make it, Unite. So I don't think there's an issue there. And I mean, lastly, honestly, like they made an America region, and America dropped a nuke on them. So like,
that's a good point.
I don't.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I think there's bad things and great things that happen all over the world for the entirety of human history. So I don't think we can necessarily say this area is never going to be an inspiration because of political, political.
Because Pokemon isn't politics. I mean, it's again,
they're pulling on the history and they're pulling on the culture. I really love the idea that these things are also a reference to. What did he call it? Just invasive species. That's kind of what the Ultra Beasts were also based on. And we were discussing in a previous episode, like what the next biological reference or mechanic is going to be to pair well with convergent species or the regional form. So I think this is a really cool thing.
That'd be cool if there was a hog was the 5th like legendary in that
would be cool.
group.
They really
DLC.
That would confirm his theory big time. This guy's comment is fire. That's all I can say. Like, there's not much to say. Your friend here, Python.
Yes,
yeah.
Like there's not much to say about it other than it's probably pretty accurate. If it isn't, it should be. It's just it works
like most of our like responses to these are like us debating about it, but that one it's just like he sets up such a good argument for it. It's just like. Yeah, that's it, and I don't really know what else to say.
I definitely want to jump onto a couple Gen 10 questions, but just earlier today on Twitter, this guy, Arjun, Sol, I don't know if you are familiar with this person, but they tweeted at us saying, I haven't seen any Pokemon content creators take this perspective. They said that the triangular pattern on the metallic plates, you guys can see it right here. This is one of the images that is on the box art of Scarlet and Violet. Is that the triangular pattern on the metallic plates remind me of the Einstein-Rosen bridge, which I don't know what that is, but we were just talking about Einstein earlier, right? This could be a reference to that previous comment. They say, what if the triangle on top signifies the world of Violet, which is the future, and the triangle below signifies the world of Scarlet, the past timeline, and vice versa. And then there's 2 zeros on the side of it, which is like so weird. And basically what that would be is area 0. The 2 circles are area 0. What do you guys think about this? This was so sick. I had seen this.
That does tie to the previous comment that we had too, that said that talked about Heath's likeness to Einstein. I would say that would kind of add some credit. I think it's cool that we got 2 separate comments that made a reference to Einstein, or an Einstein theory in this case.
We love Einstein.
Right.
So this is the Rosenberg
Bridge.
So that's cool. I have seen this before, right? It's like that thing where they take the paper and they put the paper. You fold the paper and then you poke a hole through, and that's like supposed to indicate like a new passageway through time.
Right.
So that is really cool, and I've seen this before. You get the triangle up top and triangle down below.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that a lot. I really hope they do deep stuff like this. I love when they do deep stuff like this, and it's not it's not just third legendary, make dreams come true. I mean, it's so much better when it's deep.
Yeah, I agree. I hope that it is. And this is just like the last comment. Like, this should be real, and if it isn't, they just should have done it. Yeah. Like, it makes too much sense. It's the past and the future. That symbol like pretty much lines up exactly with what he's saying there, or they're saying there.
Yeah, I like that a lot though. That was a really good find, and I think that that, symbol. It's on the not only is it on that, but it's on the box art for Scarlet and Violet. So it's important.
It really is important. Yeah, and I wonder how much.
We could even go deeper into those one day. I don't know, like what we can actually tell about them. I don't know if we have in the past either, but all those 4 symbols are down in Area Zero. Well, I don't know about there's
I haven't
one
found
that
one of
might
them.
not be.
There's one that I haven't found. Yeah, because there's
That'll be the
4
DLC
in the room with Roaring Moon or Iron Valiant. There's that one on the plate. I'm forgetting where the 3rd one was.
It's in the book.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's in the book.
I think that the other one,
someone
found the other one. Yeah, someone found the other one on one of the professor's blackboards. It's like drawn on there, so but that's like it. It's really small and means it's so insignificant, but it's there.
See, all of that to me would point to time travel and not, fate becoming real.
Yeah, because what are those symbols? Like, we have no idea.
Right.
But it's all the same thing. It's time travel, but it's something that shouldn't exist in our time. So,
right.
And then the thing that brings it into reality. Yeah, so I guess that really is just time travel. It's like it's a distortion of time
the
travel.
one on the book in the book though is about dreams. So that does kind of
Which one? What does the shape look like on the book?
I think it could be both, to be honest. Like, it could be these are what the past Volcarona and the past Donphan looked like, but the legend has brought them to life. So, like, this specific Great Tusk was made up. It's based off of a real thing that used to exist. Because, I mean, that just makes a lot of sense.
I like that obscurity, too. Because then it gives them freedom to make a design that's more interesting rather than having something be purely biological. And then they can also bend it in the future, right? Like, then there's that mystery. Like, I'm sure they want to leave some mystery open to fans so we can actually perpetuate the franchise, right? They can be like, well, what is the original form, right? It's like if
they usually do that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, the biggest point for imagination, I would say, is the DLC paradoxes that we know we're getting.
Yeah.
Because, he literally said, I just imagined these and drew them down. Well, we're going to see them, so clearly that was put into existence. But then, like, I'll also say Great Tusk and Iron Treads, he saw them, took a picture of them, and sketched what he saw. So it wasn't he imagined them and wrote down what he imagined. He saw them and wrote down what he saw, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, man. So here, we got to move on a little bit. Let's move on to this comment by Nice Guy 66 Elaine. They write, I would love to see the Generation 10 Pokemon game being a larger battle festival. Maybe a cruise around Japan, going back to the start. So what struck me about this comment was it's almost like it's wish fulfillment for Pokemon MMO, right? Total open world game. But now that we do have an open world game, it does make sense that they would then try to, I think what they have to do is just like get a working engine. That's definitely the next step, which probably what we should expect for Gen 10 and maybe Gen 11. It can be even bigger. But if a Generation 10 game comes out, that feels, arbitrarily like a big deal, right? Generation 10, 10 generations of Pokemon. You would think that they would want to do some sort of, kind of what they did with Journeys, right? Where you actually do touch on all these different places. And I think
especially if it drops on the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's a big freaking deal, right?
It's two big deals. Definitely. It's the 10th generation, the 30th year. I mean, it's 2 in 1.
So that's great. We can do tons of wishing, right? I'm sure they would sell just as much money just giving us a new gen, or even they could even just give us a remake, right? They did that with Sun and Moon. They could really just release anything on the anniversary. However, I do think they would want to do something kind of significant, right? They could do bare minimum, but I would want them to do something significant. I think if they're going to give us a game that has to do with multiple regions at all, it would have to be those Japanese-inspired regions, the first 4 generations, because they're small enough in scale, right? And then also because they're actually like interconnected on the same landmass. What they could also do is really shrink down. They could shrink down the regions a lot as well, right? That's something else they could do.
Yeah.
Or they give us basically one region. It could be the new region, right? So we have Kanto, Johto, Sevi Islands, Hoenn, Sinnoh. This whole area right here of real-world Japanese. Untouched. This is where Gen 10 could be. And then you essentially have these DLC packs that open up different areas, right? That is what I'm thinking of Skyrim, right? If we just got a brand new protagonist, right? Ash is gone. That is the anime. We're finally entering into open world Pokemon games. I think if they're going to do something crazy, if they're going to do something that really shakes everything up and allows them to not have to continuously make a brand new mainline Pokemon series game, is that they would want to make a Pokemon game where they can just keep adding on to it and keep people tied in.
I like the idea of, I do think they should do something like a battle festival in it. I don't think that'd be the whole game. I don't know if they're implying that would be the whole game, or if that would be, or if they're implying it would be a part of the game. Yeah. But I think it would be cool if, I mean, even if you somehow let us visit the original gens without actually letting us, because I know that would be probably too much for Game Freak to do, to be honest. But I think it would be neat if you had a cruise ship take you from, even if it's a region based on China, then you take it from the China region to the Sevi Islands. So you get to revisit the Sevi Islands. You don't get to go to Kanto, but the Sevi Islands, and maybe even the battle tower that was on one of the Sevi Islands, I forget which island exactly it was on, has now been replaced with a world tournament. And there you have,
that's crazy.
Lance back, Cynthia back, Steven, Iris, all kinds of people you could do. I mean, what was it in the original world tournament? There was a gym leaders bracket, so you could battle all the gym leaders. There was a champions one where you could battle all the champions. They could even do like an Elite Four bracket. You battle all the Elite Four. A Battle Brains bracket where it's all the Frontier Brains, Subway bosses, all those types of characters. And then you could even do like an All-Star bracket where it's characters that don't fall into any of those. So things like Barry or Silver, where they're not a gym leader, they're not an Elite Four member, not a champion, so they could fit into like a All-Stars bracket. That would be really cool. I'd love that. I wonder if Masters would hurt the chances of that happening.
Yeah.
I think that's a completely different demo. I've never touched Pokemon Masters.
You too. I think so as well. I just worry that Game Freak would rationalize it as that.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you have any ideas, Soul? I got something else I want to jump in and say.
I don't have too much. I don't think that it's possible. I wish that it was. I think that they would just do a whole new area of Japan if they're going to do something like that. I don't think that they would revisit the old ones and make them into one, unless it's like years from now. Like, right. Pokemon's like looking for something real fresh and new, and we've gotten like 3 remakes of that already, and it's just a new way to do it all over again kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, because if they do want to keep... So I guess my thought with this is like, every time there's a new generation, they have to make a new engine. And now we're getting new games with new engines in between and that are independent of the main series engine, right? I feel like it almost... Like, I mean, there's so many issues with Scarlet and Violet, right? If they can make an engine that actually works, like, wouldn't it be nice if instead of having to, like, build a brand new game now, what they could do is just, like, make a callback region where we could travel to that region, and it's the same engine. I feel like that's a huge part of the development that, like, no longer needs to exist. Maybe I don't understand game development, but I feel like they're really going to have, like, if Scarlet and Violet actually looked nice, right? Like, it is a fun game to play. I'm not trying to say it's an awful game, but there's glaring problems.
Right.
If Scarlet and Violet actually... So, Scarlet and Violet, it just, like, it has the issues. And now that we have Gen 9, it kind of makes me not want them to rush into Johto, into blah, blah, blah DLC, blah, blah, remake, whatever. I don't know. Like, I want these games, but it's like, how much worse could it get if they're still making profits? So part of me wants to almost, like, rationalize and be like, maybe what they would want to do is make something that could make just as much money. I would buy $60 DLC if they gave us a main series game and then they said, well, now you can go to the Kanto region in the same engine. It's going to be $50, $60, but it actually looks nice.
I'd 100% do that.
And then, like, maybe there's a new option where if you want to start the new game, you could start from the Kanto region. I don't even think that's that crazy. Like, how are they going to sell or market another open world Pokemon game? Maybe they go, like, you can go to any region. we talk about how these games are going to continue to one, surprise us, but also continue to get better and better and develop and make these games worth $60, right? Maybe they don't look amazing, right? But having that option, I think, is super cool. I know.
Yeah, I think that, like, I want to go back to an old region so bad. I don't even care which one, just because that was such a cool feature of, I know that, you know, for y'all, it was probably Gold and Silver. For me, it was Heart Gold and Soul Silver was the first Johto games I played. And so that was so cool to, you beat the league and, oh, you can go to a whole nother region that you've been to before. I would love, I think that's why a lot of people want Kalos as DLC in Scarlet and Violet, which is insanely unlikely. Like, it's really not going to happen, guys. South Kalos, maybe not. You're not going to go see Lumio City.
No.
But
No.
I think that that's why people want it so bad. I would love if there was a China game, and even if at the end of the game they were like, get on a plane, we'll fly you to the Unova region. Like, completely unrelated, not neighboring it at all. I don't care. I would just love to have that feeling again.
I feel like they got to make some sort of shift, and we saw with Generation 8, they've made a lot of choices, right? Good and
Don't mind
bad.
experimenting. They have shown that the last 4 years. They have proven time and time again they don't mind experimenting.
Yeah. So
I'd argue even further than that. I mean,
I was going to say
Pikachu and
that
Eevee, very experimental.
they've been experimenting forever. That is the Game Freak policy. Like, it's not even, it's just how it goes always.
Yeah, I guess I should say they've been bolder in their experiments. I mean, you know, experimenting with, let's try doing Mega Evolutions to older Pokemon. That's a lot smaller than, let's do a game that is set in the distant past of the Sinnoh region, you know?
Yeah.
And so this next question is, Generation 10 should be more of a Pokemon World style game where you can travel to every island, challenging all gym leaders, every Elite Four. The caveat would be to start with a new starter every time. The starting region would be up to the player and develop from there. See, again, like, I feel like there is a limit where I don't think we're ever going to get a game that's every single region. That is what Pokemon Masters is, really, right? Where all these characters are coming together onto a single game and a single experience. I don't think we're ever going to get a mass open world thing, but if anything like that were to happen, I think going back to this Japanese-inspired region makes sense, because these games have always been all together, right? And also, you got to think, like, Generation 10 is so far, like, that's like 3-4 years from now. We're going to be in Generation 10. It would make sense to go back to the roots and pay homage to the roots.
Right.
They're going to be shaking stuff up in Gen 9. Like, we predict Legends Arceus or Legends games, right? We predict more faithful remake games. I don't know. There's probably going to be something new that is not anything that we've even considered. That's
I think so.
I agree. I think the DLC for Scarlet and Violet has a decent chance to be that. I mean, we talked very briefly before we even got on, got to recording, rather. We talked about how, like, it seems from what we know about the DLC, it is going to be almost like a sequel to Scarlet and Violet. It's going to conclude the story of Scarlet and Violet even further than the conclusion of Scarlet and Violet concluded Scarlet and Violet. And so that's completely different from Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra, where it was these very self-contained, completely separate from Galar, other than a few characters having relations to another character. It's not like that now. It's going to be like sequel. So this is, if Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra was a third version of Pokemon Sword and Shield, this is Black 2 and White 2, this DLC. It's not a third version DLC. It's a sequel game DLC.
I really hope you're right. I mean, I agree with you that, like, precedent for it, like, it should happen that way. But I don't want it to be, like, just, like, additional content, like, actual DLC is supposed to be. You know what I mean? It's like, it should be, like, a whole nother game. Like, imagine if they never did DLC.
I don't think it'll be a whole nother game.
No, I know, but we would be getting a third version game this year.
Which wouldn't be fun. I really don't like third versions.
Yeah, I love that they replaced them with DLC.
They
felt like cheap cash grabs.
Yeah.
I agree.
The sequels did not. Black 2 and White 2 didn't. But Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Yellow, all those.
Yeah, and you have to trash your original file, right? Because you play through the game, and then all of a sudden you have to start fresh.
Yeah, I don't know, but people do all kinds of playthroughs. You know, like you started with Scarlet and now you're doing Violet. You know, it's just like another one. For me personally, whenever I was playing Pokemon games back in the past, I would play once through the main one, and then I would never do like another playthrough until the next version came out.
Do that
the third
now.
version.
I do that now. Still do that.
Well, there's no more third version. I mean, like the third version would come out, and then I'd play that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess I do like the idea of there being like multiple. It's like you almost get to experience the multiple realities a little bit clearer, right? Like with I always think of Sinnoh. I'm sorry, I always think of the Hoenn region in the Gen 3 games. Like Ruby and Sapphire, your player character is either blue or red, like your headband or whatever, and so that gave it a whole different feel. There's different. There's different evil teams. I feel like those whole games just felt so parallel. And then Emerald is like you're all green. It's like it just felt like a different game, even though it's the exact same game.
Yeah, I would say that like.
So I will kind of miss that.
Don't get me wrong.
I want it all. I mean, Sun and Moon.
I want it all.
Alola feels very bland to me, because I didn't enjoy Sun and Moon much. And I'm not going to lie to you. If I had played Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon first, if that had been my first experience with Alola, I would love Lola. But instead, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon was like a repeat of Sun and Moon. And that exposition in those games is awful. It is so long, it hurts.
Truth.
And so playing through Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, when I had already played through Sun and Moon, and the exposition, that first part is the exact same, it is, I mean, it's painful. It is actually painful.
I'm glad we're getting DLC. We got to do a full episode about what kind of games we think could be coming, because I think there's a lot of different possibilities that really aren't things that we've even predicted yet, right? Like I don't think it's easy to be like, oh, it's gonna be Legends something else, and it could be, right? It could be. People like Legends a lot, but it could also not be, right?
I think it's a safe bet that we could get something like that. Another thing is that it could be a Legends game, but it could be very different from the Legends. With the DLC, like, don't get me wrong, I think that DLC is the better way to go than a third version. I was just saying that I did enjoy third versions too, and the whole point was that next year we would be getting a third version. So the DLC should be. I just don't want DLC to be minimal. You know, like it should be as good as what we were getting, if not better. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
I 100% agree.
Sword and Shield DLC was fantastic to me. If they do that again, I will be satisfied. If they do more, I will be thrilled. You know.
Yeah, I think they will. I think there's.
If they do less, I'll be disappointed.
I think they do need to do more, because Sword and Shield, the base game, feels like less. Like or Scarlet and Violet feels like less than the base game of Sword and Shield.
Yeah, it's like a bigger world, but there's less to do.
What do I do? You know, like at least Sword and Shield had the battle tower. I mean, yeah, it wasn't a lot of fun, but at least it was there.
Yeah.
No, I've been finding that a lot with Scarlet and Violet, actually. Like, you could run through this game and do it all and then not have too much left over. It's like, oh, man.
I mean, so they got to give us a battle facility where, like, Pokemon are set. Like, I know people say the Ace tournament, the Academy Ace tournament, but that's not it. Like, your Pokemon aren't set to level 50. So it isn't a good, like, training ground for VGC or anything. You can't do doubles. It's singles only.
There are still so many questions we haven't even gotten to yet. So leave your comments or questions or whatever you guys want us to talk about in the future. You guys, ask the personal questions. This is the platform to do so. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music, leave us a rating and follow us there as well. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. Can't wait to do another one of these soon.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
See you guys. Peace.
Peace out.